10 Men You Won't Believe Exist, Part 2. Good things come in twos, and there's always more supermen waiting to be discovered and reveal their powers. Want to know what they are?
Yes! Tell me, please!
Me too! There you go. Number 1. Ben Underwood. Young, brave, and fearless. This boy suffered a lot from a very young age. He lost his sight due to a severe retinal cancer he had in his childhood, and despite medical attempts to heal him, they had to remove both eyes to save his life. But what's super about this young man was that he adapted in a superhuman way to his blindness, and his ears were open to change. His ability was such that he could locate objects using a technique called echolocation as if he were a dolphin or bat.
I can hear the wall over there, the couch over there. I can hear the wall behind me.
Incredible, isn't it? And how did he do it? Basically through clicking noises with his tongue that bounced off objects and returned to his ears. That's how he located and even knew the material of any nearby object. Can you imagine doing this with just your ears? Thanks to this, Ben Underwood had a life without restraints, doing sports, riding a bike, surfing, practicing martial arts. He was pretty famous, but unfortunately, this human bat had a fatal ending when he lost the battle against cancer in 2009. Number 2. Francisco Domingo Joaquim. You may think you have a somewhat wide mouth, but there's no one like Francisco. This guy made history after showing the size of his wide mouth. He can open it to an incredible 6.69 inches wide. It's so big, he can even fit a whole 330 milliliter can in his mouth with ease. This Angolan had to compete for his title and earned not only a place in the Guinness World Records, but also $10,000, plus proposals to continue showing his amazing talent to the world. He successfully passed this ultimate test and was recorded for posterity on the set of Lo Show di Record in Rome, Italy in March 2010. An enviable talent, right? Number 3. Tran Van Hay. A large mane is the dream of many men, but not for this old Vietnamese man called Tran Van Hay. He flaunted an unbelievably large mane of up to 22 feet long. Quite a feat! How long did it take him to achieve this length? Nothing but over 40 years without going to the barber, as he did it to avoid getting sick according to his beliefs. But it seems that in the end, he won a hat. His hair is hidden in a turban and is so heavy it weighs about 23 pounds. Plus, sometimes it makes it difficult for him to move. However, this man knew how to use his gift for good and had spent his life being an herbalist, a man dedicated to medicinal plants ad honorem, meaning he didn't charge a penny for his services. Sadly, he passed away in 2010, so his long hair wasn't verified by the Guinness records.
That is a pity.
Number 4. Goran Colak. How long can you hold your breath? A few minutes? I can't even do it for 2. Goran Colak isn't a simple Croatian freediving pro. This man can endure a long time without a breath of air. Goran held his breath for nothing but 22 minutes 30 seconds in a staged environment in the capital of Croatia, where he had to overcome the cold, rain, a big audience, and live television in 2013. But he didn't settle for that. He broke his own record with 23 minutes 1 second the following year. Besides, his career is full of records for his masterful freediving technique and for training his lungs to not need air at depths over 377 feet below sea level. How does he do it? Well, let's hear it from him.
Ako imaš svoju viziju I ako si stvarno u tome uporan, onda to jednostavno mora dobro završiti.
Would you ever do such a crazy challenge? Number 5. Vujicic. Can you imagine living without arms or legs? Nick can, and always does it with a smile. Although this wasn't always the case, as he was born with agnesis and tetraamelia syndrome, which is the total absence of limbs. He only has a small stump-like formation on his lower left side. Despite this, he wanted to be independent, and did so based on his motivational thoughts about religious, business, and educational topics.
The line that I like to use is changing obstacles into opportunity.
He has published books, starred in documentaries like some short films, and inspired many people with limb deficiencies through his organization Life Without Limits. Nick shows he can handle it all and is happily married, has 4 perfectly healthy children, and a successful life. Remarkable, isn't it? Number 6. Ronnie and Donnie Galyon. spending all their lives together face to face with the same appearance, haircut, and even glasses.
I'm Ronnie. I'm Donnie.
Ronnie and Donnie were born joined at the waist. They grew up in Ohio, United States, with perfect health. At the time, they wanted to separate them, but it wasn't possible due to the technology back then, as one or both could die during the surgery. They each have their own limbs and internal organs, but they share intestines, rectum, and penis, which only Donnie can feel. These Siamese twins lived as rock stars and were able to support their large family by traveling around the world with circuses and fairs. Retired in 1991 at age 39, they returned to their hometown and lived with their younger brother and wife. Did you endure seeing your brother all day without a chance to get away?
Do you actually hit each other?
Yes.
These two are an example of unintentional teamwork. These Siamese were the oldest in the world. Unfortunately, they died in July 2020. Number 7. Larry Gomez. The human werewolf. This Mexican man has 98% of his body covered with a thick, dark layer of hair due to a genetic disorder. It's called congenital generalized hypertrichosis, and it's the reason why he had a bad time as a child. However, over the years, he began to embrace himself and even got a non-carrier wife, so he had offspring without this disorder. Despite this, his family has carried this disorder for generations, and his brother Danny knows about this as he also has the same gift of being hairy forever. Although he could easily shave or get a laser treatment to remove his excess hair, both Larry and Danny would never remove the hair from their entire bodies.
I think that living with hair on my face makes me different, but I don't see myself as different.
Despite their condition, accepting themselves along adulthood brought a successful life to these brothers as they performed in the circus, thus fitting into a more inclusive society in this modern world. Number 8. Tim Cridland. Do you have a hard job? Maybe, but there's no harder and more painful job than Tom Cridland's. This man always hurts himself to make a living. A somewhat strange job, but quite real because this man inflicts damage on himself in his show called Zamora the Torture King.
Amazing!
Where you can see this Superman run needles through his body or lie down on a bed of nails while a car rolls over his chest. Tim always concentrates a lot, so he makes it seem like he doesn't feel anything. According to him, he wasn't born with this superpower, but learned it with lots of practice and all by himself. It's an interesting case of both mental and physical discipline, but remember, don't do this at home.
What? No pain, ladies and gentlemen, that is mind over matter.
Number 9. Ho Ang Hui. You may have seen martial arts techniques in some movies where a single finger makes a difference. Well, it partly is to give more symbolic power to Asian art, but this man took it very, very seriously as he could hurt you a lot with his finger if he wanted to. This Malaysian man is called Ho Ang Hui. He looks like a middle-aged man, and he actually is, but his right index finger has a strength that could only be compared to steel. Without exotic or rare weapons, just his finger, Ho Ang Hui breaks coconut shells with great ease and has won several awards, either from his home country Malaysia or from the Guinness Records, which declared him the man who has broken 4 coconuts with just his finger in 12.15 seconds. It may not seem like a great feat, but it's been confirmed that if Ho hits you in the chest with only his finger using that force that destroys coconuts, he might break you some bones. Unbelievable, right?
That hurt!
There's also small yet big surprises on this list, so now I introduce you to number 10. Chandra Bahadur Dangi. The smallest of all, Chandra Bahadur Dangi is the smallest man in history, with his incredibly tiny size of only 21.5 inches. He was born in a village in Nepal, where his relatives had an average height. Chandra lived quietly until he was discovered in 2012. They ran all tests on him and he turned out to be the shortest man ever, so he won a Guinness record. Thanks to this, the little old man was able to fulfill his dream to leave his native Nepal and visit several countries. Chandra was very proud of his gift, which served as a catapult to represent his country. However, on one of his tours, he fell ill and died in American Samoa in 2015. He had a few years of glory, but this little guy will always be remembered. Bonus: Mehran Karimi Nassari. Have you seen The Terminal? Well, this Iranian man named Mehran Karimi Nassari was the inspiration behind this great movie by Steven Spielberg. Mehran became very famous for the film and the publication of his book. He was in Europe in the mid-1970s to study and returned to his native country, where he was tortured and imprisoned for months. Upon his return to the old continent, he sought shelter in several European countries. All his applications were rejected. Although the UN granted him asylum in Belgium and he lived there for several years, Meron wanted to move to the UK in 1986, but since he didn't have papers to leave, he was returned to the Paris airport, which he couldn't leave as he was undocumented.
I tried to have a nice day.
After 18 years, he was able to leave and stay in a reception center in Paris. Incredible story, don't you think?
Incredible!
These mind-blowing cases show there are more and more superhumans among people. So do you have any powers? Don't forget to like and subscribe as there's more content coming. If you're a fan of weird things like me, I recommend you watch these videos. See ya!